Welcome to our weekly Bible Reader Companion Series. This week our reading is taken from Revelation chapters 3 through 12, with our memory verse being taken from Revelation chapter 3 verse 11. Our memory verse reads, "Behold, I am coming quickly. Hold fast what you have, that no one may take your crown." Today let's consider the passages we find in Revelation chapter 13 verses 1 through 10. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard, his feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. And I saw one of the heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world marveled and followed the beast. So they worshiped the dragon who gave authority to the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him?" And he was given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and he was given authority to continue for 42 months. Then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, in blasphemy of his name, his tabernacle, and those who dwell in heaven. It was granted to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. All who dwell on the earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. He who leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He who kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. As we move into chapter 12, we see the beginning of new symbols and pageantry in the Revelation letter. The same problems and issues are dealt with, but from different aspects. It is important to understand the overall structure of the book of Revelation. It is written in what we call recapitulation pattern. First, the outcome is revealed, then the scenes are repeated to give additional information that explain why a certain result is reached. In order to understand the revelation, one should read it without linking chapters in chronological order. Instead, it should be read with an understanding that the pageantry or these elaborate displays recapitulates earlier visions, thereby deepening our insight. In the vision, John is shown in what form Satan will fight against those that inhabit the earth. The devil will not come in a red suit bearing a pitchfork, but he will use agents that cause the world to marvel and to praise and to worship him. The sea beast personage is introduced in the beginning of this chapter. It is the Roman Empire, impersonated in the emperor, and is described as having 7 heads, 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns. The description shows Rome that has a great power and authority. He wore on his head blasphemy, which depicted the evil claims and assertions connected with emperor worship. The beast's likeness of a leopard, a bear, a lion portray the ferocity of the empire. One of his heads had received a death stroke, but it was healed. Civil wars and internal rebellion would threaten the very seat of the empire itself. Stopping or quelling these uprisings healed the smitten head, it seems. Rome ruled not by moral greatness, but by brute force. All bowed before the beast except those faithful Christians to give honor and allegiance to his cause. The beast blasphemed God, his name, his tabernacle, and those in heaven. It may be that John is saying here that the whole conduct of the Roman Empire, and particularly the institution of Caesar worship, is an insult to the glory of God. Making war with the saints, as described there in verse 7, is persecuting the saints, and this power was to continue for a limited period of time. Christians would be overcome, they would be subdued and slain, but all the nations would worship the beast. However, God promises the saints in verse 10 that retribution would be administered to those who imprisoned and killed with the sword the people of God. The knowledge that the beast would be brought down gave the saints a reason to persevere. Their faith in the power of God to overcome enabled them to endure while the purposes of God were being worked out in the history of man. Here is the patience and the faith that is mentioned in verse 10 as he closes this particular section. May we ever have the patience and faith to endure whatever trials and tribulations that come our way in this life, knowing that in the end, we can be victorious with Christ in eternity. Let's continue to meditate on a memory verse, Revelations 3:11. Behold, I am coming quickly. Hold fast what you have, that no one may take your crown. Thank you, and join us again next week as we continue to meditate on God's Word together.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook for more content like this.